Do you want to open this one? Alright. Hello everybody. Welcome to our podcast. Hopefully we'll upload this in time this time around. I mean, we're still relatively late, I guess. So yeah, we just watched episode 2 for a second time, didn't we, Keel?
Yeah, we did.
Alright, there she is. Caitlin, you have a list of things to talk about. Yeah, I have a list
of what's happened.
Are we gonna...
Honestly, there's not that much to discuss in this one as the last one.
Right, well, that's good, because I also don't have as much time as the last
That's true.
time round. So, do we do it chronologically again?
I mean, I don't know if I made this chronologically. It's more just kind of like a summary, because I was kind of jumping all over the place.
Right.
But I mean, we can start with Dany and Dragonstone, because that is where it started.
That is where it started, yeah. Honestly, that I think was actually a really good scene, even the second time around. I really like that Ferris bit.
I'm just glad that she acknowledged how anticlimactic it was as well.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, yeah, that was good. I like that,
because it was definitely anticlimactic for us watching it as well. It wasn't just.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like they made it. I don't know if they were aware of the sort of hype of last episode not really working out so well, because for me it didn't feel that fucking fantastic, and so yeah, I agree with I see what you mean. Like it was.
I wonder if they made her say that as like this was a stylistic choice to make it anticlimactic.
I mean, maybe it was just a bit of tongue in cheek. Yeah, could
like
have
a little
been.
Escape clause.
Yeah, like if you didn't find it that cool, hey, neither did Dany.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
then weird shit with Varys.
Yeah, I trust Varys very much. So
yeah, I don't at all.
No, yeah. I think he genuinely does have the best interest of the realm
in mind. I just think that it's so like subjective.
What that is?
Yeah. Like he just doesn't seem that trustworthy to me to start with, and then him being like, "Oh yeah, I've got the people in mind, and I do everything for the people." Like, that's very subjective.
That is very true. That is one thing. So, Kayla and I.
So his chop and change isn't going to go away, I don't think.
Yeah, no. So Kayla and I, we obviously live in different countries, but we watched episode 2 while I was still in Scotland. So we had a little opportunity to talk about it then. And that was one of the things I think that was, interesting, because I do believe that Varys thinks that he's doing the right thing for King's Landing, the realm. But that is obviously not necessarily what is actually the best thing. I suppose we'll wait and see what happens with Jon as well. Because I think, one of the best things for the realm right now is to fight off the White Walkers.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's gonna wait and see how he reacts to those things. But I very much trust him.
Oh no, I don't trust him, because I think he's always going to be a bit of a snake. I mean, like this "I pledge allegiance to the people" sort of thing. That means that you're never really going to trust a leader, because a leader's not going to do everything for the people. So at what point is he going to jump ship? That
is true, and it also means that there's very few people who know his true intentions at all time.
But I also think it's been a little bit, I don't know if it's intentional foreshadowing, but to me it came across as foreshadowing, that when Dany had that talk with Elena Tyrell at the end, and she's like, "You're a dragon, fight like a dragon." That to me says that she's out now planting the seed in Dany that she's going to just fucking burn the shit out of Westeros. Which is obviously not for the people, so if that happens, what's going to happen with Varys?
What's her name again?
Elena.
I think Elena has always had the traits of a bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah, she's a bit of a psycho.
And I think that has amplified a thousandfold. So I think she is planting a seed, but I used to be very sympathetic towards her as a character, and it's not necessarily stopped. I just did think that she's I think she's manipulating the situation here. I think she just wants her fucking revenge. She's got nothing to live for anymore.
No.
Not
which
that
is
much.
A good head to think with, but then are we going to see the Mad King come out in Dany now that the seed's been planted?
Maybe, but I mean, I don't think that's good though.
No, it's not, but that'll be a way that's kind of foreshadowing if this happens, then how's Varys going to sit on this? Because that's, if you burn all the people, that's obviously not for the people.
No, I don't think Varys would be very happy about that, and neither would
Tyrion.
Tyrion, yeah. No,
so that'll be interesting to see if that was actually anything, or if it was just hey, look how crazy the Queen of Thorns is. But
could be.
Guess we won't know for a while.
No, probably not. I don't know. We don't have to do this chronologically because this not happening for a while obviously relates to Tyrion's plans and also how they, didn't exactly work out. Obviously.
No, because obviously Tyrion's plan is now literally up in smoke.
Right. I really liked his plan. I really like Tyrion as a character. I'm sure most people do. But
Tyrion's fighting with some semblance of honor, and that's not what Euron's about.
I don't think. I just think he didn't consider this to be a possibility. Yeah. I don't think it was about honor. I think he did the smart thing. I think. And it just didn't work out quite as well as he hoped. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they are going to respond, especially with that little line, like, be a dragon. How big's the chance that Dany has to use her dragons now?
Yeah. I guess we'll see probably tonight.
Probably. Yeah, possibly. I mean, she's going to meet with Jon, obviously.
So we'll have a pretty eventful episode tonight, hopefully.
Do you reckon they will have heard that her fleet's been fucked?
No idea.
I don't know either. No.
But it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But I guess next thing to talk about is Melisandre.
Were you looking forward to her being back?
No. Really not.
I can't say that I was too happy about that either. No.
I was kind of hoping they would keep her out of this for a little while longer, because I feel like she's just a plot device to make sure Azor Ahai is always in the background. Because every time she comes in to mention the prince that was promised, and then she fucks things up and then she leaves.
Oh, what's that whole Azor Ahai thing again?
Every time we talk about this, I have to explain it to you. The prince that was promised who'll end the long night. Lightbringer, the flaming sword and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No. Okay, well, you're dumb. But she seems to think that it was... she's brought it to Dany she thinks it's going to be Dany. And Jon in combination.
What is going to be Dany?
Azor Ahai, the prince or princess that was promised.
Promised for what?
End in the long night. The one who's going to be reborn as the guy who stopped the first long winter.
Okay. Okay.
But when she brought it up to Dany, she kind of is still waging her bets on whether it's Dany or Jon, which is kind of nice to see because I think the same split exists in the fans.
Right. I think that was actually very interesting. Like, I obviously don't understand all that much about anything.
That's obvious.
But I did think that was very interesting because, you know, obviously, I can tell when a prophecy means something, and I thought it was very interesting that it was like, oh, you know what, it could also be a princess, but then it's not necessarily, which I think left a nice gap for Jon.
Yep. I liked that Varys called her out, but I kind of wish it was Tyrion that had done it because then it would hold something.
How did he call her out again?
Being like, well, she said that about Stannis, and look where he is now.
True, I think that, yeah.
But like, she shut down Varys way too quickly with that, because I think it was like something that had to be said, and I think she should have known more about what she did to Stannis, because like, sacrificing Shireen and stuff, she should know that shit. She should know that this woman is not that trustworthy. So I think that was kind of dumb of Dany to like shrug that off and be like, well, we're forgiving one person who supported the wrong king, but he didn't kill a kid.
I don't know how...
She didn't send a bloody shadow demon
I don't know
to
how
kill
this
brothers.
Is coming across to other people, but I actually feel like Dany seems a little bit insecure with how many people she's got around her, how many people are advising her. And so I think her accepting Melisandre's whatever,
Counsel.
like heartily apology or, you know, allegiance, I think that is because she is insecure about this. And I mean, you know, rightly so, I suppose, because she's you know, it's a big endeavor, and she's supposedly quite young still. I mean, obviously,
as much as she was born Westerosi, she's never known life as a Westerosi.
Also very true. So I can understand why she's allowing all these people to come to her aid and be at her side, because if she has to do this alone, she probably would just fuck it up.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. The thing that bothers me the most, I think, is that Melisandre's still so deceiving because of her looks, for instance. And like you said, also the way she's kind of explaining away Stannis. I understand, because I think all those things probably had to happen for Jon to become the king in the north. But I'm not sure that makes her character any more trustworthy.
Yeah.
Or the fucking Lord of Light, for that matter. Like, I still don't understand. I still personally hope that it's Bran doing something, pulling strings.
Yeah, I'm starting to think more and more that it is something to do with Bran, or maybe even Jojen, because like, it doesn't work in a normal timeline. Because obviously if they can go into the future and back and everything, it could be Bloodraven, it could be Jojen, because just because they're dead doesn't mean they didn't do this before they died.
Who's Jojen?
Jojen Reed, the guy who basically taught Bran how to use his grain sight.
Who's the Raven?
The guy in the cave with the children of the forest. The three-eyed raven.
How are they not the same person?
Because they're not.
What?
Jojen Reed is Howland Reed's son, and the three-eyed raven was a Targaryen, or a Blackfire.
There was one person teaching Bran, right? What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, you can Google it, but I'm telling you. Mira's brother, essentially.
Yeah.
He also had grain sight.
That guy didn't do shit though.
How do you know? You don't know.
He didn't teach him anything. What the fuck are you talking about?
He did.
No, he didn't. Eh?
He taught him how to warg.
Hardly.
Okay, well, whatever.
Did he?
This was so long ago. Don't fight your memories for it. But
I fucking hate watching this shit with you, dude.
Yeah, it could it could be something like that. It might not be Bran. But I hope it is something like Bran.
I hope so too, yeah, because
I hope it's a person pulling strings and not a bloody god, because that just wouldn't make sense to the story.
I don't think so either, you know. I think
it would detract from the story.
Magic aside, I think divine power isn't the same as magic. And so I think Worgen and stuff, those are like mystical powers. Those are...
Yeah, that's like magic.
That is like magic.
Especially because the dragons kind of made Bran stronger.
Right. Okay, sure. I believe that. That's definitely not canon. That's you speculating. Dick.
Asshole.
But, I think it would be a much better explanation for what's happening if Bran or anyone like that is pulling strings.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on from this.
Where were we?
Yeah. Well, I mean, next thing that happens is that Dany invites Jon to discuss what he's seeing, and you're like, yes, finally somebody's going to like listen to him about the White Walkers. This is going to be brilliant. And bend the fucking knee.
Bend the knee.
Yeah, and then you see it all kind of crumble again.
I don't know. I think again, and I think that is actually when I watched this the second time when I really sort of felt like my suspicion about her being insecure was confirmed, because that seemed like a very insecure move to me.
I mean, especially because when the Greyjoys came to her, they said that they wanted to keep the Iron Island.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to help, like, form an allegiance to destroy a common enemy.
Right.
And obviously, if she does want the Seven Kingdoms, the Iron Island is one of those kingdoms, so she should want that. And she shouldn't have allowed them to keep it, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks 1,000 words that she's inviting him. He's not coming to her. So she wants him to bend the knee. She wants him to surrender the North, which I don't think she'll want when she realises what's going on up there. But
I don't know. I maybe, but yeah, it could be. I don't.
Comes across as insecure as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work. I
think the whole bend the knee is a bluff. Honestly,
feels a little bit like it. Yeah.
And I also think that's why Tyrion will probably not get flack for not including it in his message, and also why he didn't, because I think he notices that she's not necessarily this
she's not stuck on it.
I don't think she's not just that. I think he notices that she's not entirely sure what to do right now.
But then we go to a Winterfell, obviously, where once again Davos is the only person who sees like any sort of fucking normal strategy in anything, because he's the one that points out like, these dragons, big ass creatures, do you know what they do? They breathe fire. Do you know what fire does? It kills the White Walkers. So like, we should probably get on team with that.
Yeah.
And everybody else just sees like, no, the king in the North must stay in the North, whereas he's like, big ass fire making machines could be kind of useful actually.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Davos for the Iron Throne, 100%.
No, but Davos is, has that really good, I don't know, quality. He's honestly one of my favourite characters. He's just...
Yeah, he has some sort of like ability to foresee things that are logically going to happen. Instead of getting worried about, what if I'm betrayed? Like, no, because this is a good tool, so it's probably worth the risk.
He very much seems like most of the people watching Game of Thrones in a way.
Yeah, he's like the voice of reason.
He's the voice of reason, and I think especially in this case it was very interesting to watch, because obviously that second message from Sam came in as well, and at that stage everyone knew for certain that Jon had to go.
Yeah.
But I think Davos really helped in that decision making process, also with the pointing out of the dragon ability to maybe kill some White Walkers.
And I liked that when it came to the meeting where everybody's like, the King of the North must stay in the North, he kind of took a step back and let Jon come to the conclusion himself.
Yeah.
that was kind of nice to see, because that's kind of what the audience is having to do as well, is like hope that he sees fucking sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like we're getting a little bit of a say in what's happening through Davos, which is nice.
Probably. I think that, but Sansa was also very interesting. You know, maybe I should keep and save Reddit comments so that you know I can credit people. But for now I can't. Just, you know, if anyone is interested where these insights are coming from, really all that I read is the Game of Thrones Reddit, not the Song of Ice and Fire, but the Game of Thrones one, and then just the post episode discussions. But one of the most interesting sort of theories I read there, or maybe it's even a separate post just in the Game of Thrones subreddit, it doesn't matter too much. One of the most interesting things I read there was an explanation for why Sansa shut the fuck up after Jon gave her power. Because some people seem to think like that was sort of what she was after, that she really wanted to be in power. And I don't think that is necessarily true. So this person explained that it seemed much more like she realized that at that stage she had to step up. And I think that was very interesting. So as soon as Jon...
Yeah, because if he'd left without her saying okay... more like if after that she questioned anything or didn't seem strong or stable, then the fucking king in the north or queen or whatever, or you know, whatever you call it, warden, if she didn't, you know, immediately seem up to the task, that would not reflect well on her later on when she has to make decisions. So as soon as Jon says that she has to accept with grace and what, braveness? Is that a word? Gracefulness?
But how? Well, doesn't matter.
Problems with having a Dutch person try to speak English.
Well, I mean, you don't know a word for braveness either. Is that a word?
Bravery.
Bravery. Yeah. Call me out, why don't you, dick? So yeah, I think...
Sorry, I can't understand you over your accent.
I think that was a very interesting explanation, and much more likely the reason that she, quote unquote, accepted that Jon had to leave. I don't think she necessarily accepted it, and I don't know if we'll get to see any, you know, behind closed doors discussions between them two. Because I don't think she did accept, but I think she had to accept, at least for appearance sake.
Yeah, I mean, if she goes against him and some people are with Sansa and with Jon, it causes another rift in the north. And that can't happen.
Sure, but not just that. If he says, you are now in charge, and she says, but wait a second, or I don't want to, or I still don't think you should go, or no, stay here because you need to be in charge, then she just doesn't seem up for the task. And I think that was very important, and I think that's the reason why she shut up, and not because of anything else really. Shocked maybe a little bit, but I think she then realized that she had to step up. So I thought that was really interesting, really, you know, interesting insight. So props to whatever person in the Game of Thrones subreddit. Whoop whoop.
Yep. So I think we should probably get away from the north.
Fuck the north.
Yeah. So then we end up in King's Landing with Cersei, the fucking nut job.
Right.
Talking to all the lords who remain in King's Landing.
That was really boring.
One of which
2 times
is Randall Tarley.
Right. That was not interesting to me at all. First time,
yeah,
second time.
Me neither.
It's just kind of, it was politics, but is
there any... it did show something cool in Cersei.
Is there any significance to this? Okay, well, lay it on me. Lay it on us.
Cersei's very good at twisting things, which was Tywin's way of doing things as well, because she brings up Slaver's Bay and Dany and Slaver's Bay, and whereas Dany sees it as freeing the slaves, Cersei's twisted it like she massacred all of the the High Lords, or whatever they call the noblemen. That's what she called them.
Are there slaves in King's Landing?
Yeah, there's slaves in King's Landing, but not on that scale.
Right.
But she kind of made Dany seem really cruel, which when we watched it as an audience didn't see it as cruel, and saying that she left them out to die, and then when she was bored with that, she fed them to her dragons. And you can see how much of a Tywin Cersei is, that she's able to twist something that really wasn't what it was to suit her cause.
No,
so I liked seeing that, and it was something I definitely noticed the second time watching.
Right, that's true. But other than that, like, does Tully, is it right? Tully's
Tarly.
Tarly?
Yeah, Tarly.
Does his allegiance have any significance, or is that interesting?
I mean, it could be, but we don't really know what his allegiance is by the end of that conversation, because he still seems very torn.
But what if? Because I mean, I don't know what the significance of it is. Like, I don't understand why that is interesting to me. Like, just because he's Sam's dad, right?
He's Sam's dad.
So is it just interesting because we have Sam's dad on the opposite side, or is there anything else? Is there another reason why it's interesting?
I mean, from what I've read of him, he's a very loyal man. Like,
right.
He's a complete loyalist. And I think this is, it would, as far as I can see, and I'm not in any means an expert in that, in like the families and what the significance could be, but the only thing that I could glean from it is that it's showing that loyalists aren't loyal anymore.
Right. Okay, so nothing interesting then. It's just...
So nothing too interesting. It's just a little bit of symbolism as far as I can see, but I don't know much about House Tarly.
No, okay, but I mean, if you don't know, then I definitely don't know, and I think a lot of people won't know what necessarily the significance of this is. Or
like,
maybe
it could be a little wink to book readers, but I've not got that far.
Maybe I'm completely underestimating anyone listening, or whatever.
Yeah, you probably are, but
so
as far as my knowledge goes,
point it out to us what this could signify.
Yeah, if there is anything, let us know. But,
I don't know.
As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it seemed not that interesting.
Yeah. So then, this isn't chronological, I don't think, but we see Qyburn take Cersei into the crypt.
Right.
To see Balerion, I think. The big-ass dragon.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
I was so disappointed.
I would have hated...
We can kill the dragons.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have hated if he'd made some sort of monster, because he's already too godlike in what he did to the mountain.
Yeah, I don't think it would. I didn't want a monster. I wanted something more clever than a fucking slingshot.
This is that what it's called? Is it not a fucking?
I can't remember what it's actually called.
It's a bow, right? Like, it was a.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, I thought it would be
something way more clever.
I thought it was a bit anticlimactic as well, and I hope, I'm not sure, but I get the feeling that they might already overestimate the power of that weapon, because we are looking at dragons that are at least as big as the one they shoot through.
And Drogon possibly even bigger. Possibly
even bigger, but definitely as big. And, they're
shot... moving.
Yeah, exactly. Dragons are moving. They shot this skull only, not with scales and shit on it.
Yeah,
from so
scales
close,
are like armor.
So close. This skull's been lying there for years, so it must be shite.
Yeah, the integrity must be crap.
So, I'm not saying that cannot be a good weapon, but I think to pretend like it's just gonna aim and shoot it through its head, that I don't think that's happening. Like,
there's so many flaws in that plan. Because as a biologist, that's the most pretentious thing I've ever said. There's like... scales are there as armor. Like, that's the point in scales. And these are like fucking super skills because they're on a dragon. Dragons are magical. So to me, like, the scales are going to be more of a problem than anything else.
Now that you mention that, as a biologist, what did you think of the grayscale scene, Keel? As a biologist, what is your biological opinion of that?
It's rancid.
How do you think Jorah's immune system will hold up, Keel? As a biologist, that
Jorah's immune system seems fucked, if you ask me, but there you go, as an immunologist. There you go, even more pretentious.
Yeah, I think I mean, I hope that they're not doing that for nothing, but at the same time, it would seem a bit weird to me if Sam tries an old method that really smart people have written off and it suddenly works.
Well, I mean, I tried to pause the thing on the page that he was looking at in the book.
Yeah.
And couldn't see much. I haven't really had much time this week to go through Reddit to see if anybody managed to get like a super high quality image of the page.
Right.
But there wasn't obviously Dragonglass written.
Wasn't? Right.
Because I thought I saw it, but I think it says diagnosing.
As a biologist,
because I saw the D and the G.
What is your opinion on that as a biologist, Q?
I don't have one. Shut the fuck up. But I think without the Dragonglass, I think that must be the secret to all of this.
I think that is both kind of cool and really annoying, because Dragon and Dragonglass already have so much attributed to them that it gets to the point.
But like, it would tie up Jorah's story really easily, and at this stage I just don't want him to die.
That's true. And that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like if it was any other character, it wouldn't work, what Sam's doing, just because it seems so improbable and kind of lucky. Like, they just cut it off and put some balm on it. How did no one ever think of that?
I mean, somebody did think of that because he took it from a book.
Right, but then how did it not work after that? Or how did they not adopt it?
I think that's why we saw the expanse of the Citadel, and the fact that there's some people who are really great researchers but really boring writers, and some that are really good writers but make everything up. I think that was some sort of this Pylos book. I think it was Maester Pylos that wrote it. Might not have been the most interesting writer, and so people just haven't read it.
No, but I mean, did he not bring it up to the Maester and said, like, yo, there's this, and he was like, yeah, but that, no.
Yeah, but that was the Maester that dealt with Shireen from the one at Dragonstone. I think it was Pylos that was written on the front of the book. I think it was a different guy that wrote the book.
He's referring to, he's doing another thing. Like, he's not referring to... I think so,
yeah. I mean, I don't think they peeled the stuff off Shireen's face because Shireen still had stuff on her face.
Stuff on her face. That's true, maybe.
So I don't think this was what they used with Shireen, but if it has Dragonglass in it and that's what cured Shireen, there's a pretty good chance for Jorah.
I don't know. I'll just say this. I think if it works just as easily as this, it's a bit anticlimactic.
Yeah.
If he needs Dragonglass, it's a little too magical of... I think the dragons get too much magic ascribed to them. So I feel like there's no win-win in this anymore. I want Jorah to live.
You realise that Dragonglass isn't anything to do with the dragons.
What do you mean?
Dragonglass is obsidian. It's just a rock that's found on Dragonstone.
No.
I'm pretty sure it has nothing to actually do with the dragons.
Nah, I don't believe that.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
We'll figure that out for next episode. We'll have a nice discussion about that, because John will be talking about the Dragonglass anyway.
Definitely.
So what's left?
Well, I mean, one thing about Jorah is, do you think that Lyanna's going to, like, let him go back to Bear Island now when he's cured? Because I think it would be so anticlimactic if, like, he gets healed, everything's great, and then he has nowhere to go. Because Dany's not going to take him to be as a husband.
Not as a husband, but why is that necessary?
He's never going to be happy there if he's not got Dany.
But he will have Dany, but not as a wife.
Yeah, but can you imagine how fucking heartbreaking that is?
I don't think so.
I just want Lyanna to, like, not even legitimize him, but just allow him back, like, take him out of exile.
I don't think that will be necessary, because I think Jorah is fully on Team Dany, even without her love or her pussy or whatever. I do think, like, you know, whatever, like, if the story goes in a completely different direction than what we're thinking, and he does end up on Bear Island, then I do think that she should just legitimize him again. And also she's 8.
Yeah.
And he's her brother, right?
Uncle.
I don't know. I think
like, even if he doesn't accept it, I think that bone should be thrown to him.
I think so, and I think
he's earned it at this point.
I think, but maybe that comes after Jon and Dany meet, and then maybe later Jorah joins the movement again. But I suppose that's really just a waiting game.
Okay, so we've already kind of talked about Tyrion's plan, but I thought it was smart to like take away Cersei's argument of they're invading us with foreigners. I thought that was smart, but obviously it's not working. I just thought that was a nice throw-in.
That was like smart too, yeah.
That was kind of smart, but I don't know if it's worth discussing because the plan's now gone to shit.
Not too much. No, I think the most important thing happening this episode are 2 of the fucking annoying sand snakes dying.
Oh yeah, that was actually incredible. I felt so satisfied.
That was great. And the one with the boobies still lives, so that's also good.
Yeah, right? That's true. But I think it's funny that they were like mocking her for like thinking her mum was like fucking great. And then she runs to her mum, and who dies? The 2 that were like, oh, mama.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, bitch,
she didn't run to her, right?
Don't stand united and look what happens.
I mean, she was gonna protect her, I think.
Yeah. So that was nice. I was kind of over the sand snakes. The minute I saw they were back in this shit, I was like, for fuck's sake.
I was over them by the minute they were introduced.
Yeah, I don't know if the writers thought they were being clever and then just had to follow through, essentially, even though we hated them. I feel like killing them was such a fan service, but I don't even mind because I hated them that much.
I don't think so, because I think as far as the present goes that Euron's going to bring to Cersei, that has to be the mum who poisoned her daughter. So I think that was a really clever idea of a present. It it also works in her favor massively now, because obviously the fleet was headed for King's Landing. No, was it? No, it wasn't. It was headed for, what was it again?
Dorne.
Yeah, and then what were they supposed to take? Anyway, it was going to be used to fuck over Cersei. So, I think this was a great move on all accounts from Euron. So I'm interested to see how Cersei and Euron will be now. Like, are they gonna, get married? Have some kids?
I don't know. I don't know how that'll end. I think she might end up killing Euron.
Could be. I don't know.
But that could be cool to see anyway.
We'll wait and see. What did you think of Reek?
Oh, Reek coming back. I thought it was really well played out. I don't think he's fully Reek again, because I feel like there was nothing he could do for Yara anyway, because if he got any closer, he was just going to like cut her fucking head off. So to me, it's better that there's at least one Ironborn that's still free to command what's left. Even if there's nothing left, at least there's still somebody to take the throne from Euron, because nobody wants that shit. When
I watched it the second time, and I saw Theon stop,
reek the fuck out.
Well, no, he just stopped, and as I saw that, I was like, this looks much more like character growth almost than reeking the shit out, because he hesitated, not so much, I don't think, initially because he was scared, but because he realized what just blindly charging in would have as a consequence, which I think is Yara dying. But obviously after that, he did sort of get that little twitch in his eye, and that was really well acted as well. But I definitely don't think that is Reek being back. I read again on Reddit somewhere that people thought he was still Reek. That was their argument. Like, look at the way he poured a wine or beer or whatever they were drinking. Earlier, I don't think that's Theon being Reek. I think that's a changed Theon. and he's obviously never going to be the old Theon. But
yeah, I think Theon's learning to use Reek as a weapon.
I'm not sure if it's using Reek as a weapon. No, I don't think so. But I think Reek was just, just a phase in his life sounds kind of weird given the context. But I think it kind of was. And I think he has mostly snapped out of it. But obviously you can't just, leave that behind and actually hope that is all behind you. He's obviously still carrying a lot of the baggage. And I don't know, maybe you could call it, PTSD. So yeah, him jumping off, I think first of all was just smart, common sense, good sense. And I also don't think that as he was in the water, I don't think he was reeking the fuck out.
No, he definitely wasn't.
I think he reeked out for a second, and that might have been why he jumped off, but I think it was possibly in combination with realizing that he had no chance of doing anything for Yara.
Yeah, I probably realised he was better alive than Yara dead.
Exactly. Well, both of them did. Very likely. So
I thought that was clever.
Yeah. But I think that's probably the episode, right?
I mean, no, because we missed our Arya.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, when we last saw her, she was heading for King's Landing. She goes to a tavern, or an inn, I guess, and meets Hot Pie, who I'm so fucking glad they brought him back, because I really liked Hot Pie.
Yeah.
And we have that wonderful discussion where they talk about everything apart from the thing that, probably she needs to know about, which is, the Boltons don't have Winterfell anymore.
Yeah.
I like that he called it the Battle of the Bastards. That made me happy inside.
That was kind of funny, yeah.
A little bit of a wink of you're kind of living in the tales that are getting told around the kingdoms. That was nice.
Yeah.
I like that. And then, Arya was really acting strangely. She was there was an air of hound around her, where she was just completely dead to the world. And then you saw that flicker of hope. Fuck yeah, there's at least two more of us.
I think it was an act as well, by the way.
It was definitely
her acting like the Hound. She wasn't like the Hound because she had seen as much or was as bitter. She was.
No, I think that's just the only.
Tough.
Yeah, that was the only cold-faced person that she knew that was able to shut off emotion. So she just started to parrot him essentially.
Yeah,
I agree. But yeah, that was nice to see. And then we get what I told you last week was going to happen, and you didn't believe me.
Yeah.
Nymeria Reunion. And I'm glad that they didn't just go back to a girl and her dog, because that would have been so bloody disingenuous.
This made a lot more sense. I didn't think this would make a lot more sense. I probably a lot of people were kind of rooting for a good minute, yes, get back with each other and murder Littlefinger or something. But I think this is ultimately for the best. It's much more realistic and ultimately I think a lot more satisfying even.
Yeah. And I don't know, Nymeria could play another role in this. She could follow Arya, but just not as her pet.
There's definitely going to be
a moment where she comes in handy.
An ex machina device.
For all we know, her and her pack will follow Arya back. We don't know that that's not going to happen.
She's going to come back. She's going to
because Nymeria has to miss the North.
Isn't she in the North? Is that not?
No, she's in the Vale.
I'm not sure.
She's halfway down.
I think Arya might have been a lot closer to...
yeah, but remember it's winter now.
Yeah, I think it was pretty white.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. The Vale would be white by now.
Sure, but I mean...
So we have no indication of where she is.
Okay.
But I could see Nymeria follow her, but not as her pet, as a separate entity in this war. Because if you think about it, she's not going to want to leave her pack.
Yeah.
but can you really travel with a human in a pack of wolves? No.
No. I think she
feel
will
like
be back.
there's still a role for Nymeria.
For sure.
I don't know if it'll be a role where she is now, but if she's going to go back to the north on her own volition, or if she's just going to travel with Arya. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Cool. They are in the north.
Okay.
You're wrong.
Well, if she's going to go to Winterfell then. So I guess we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like she has to have more of a role than that, and if not, then it is fully fan service. But yeah, the only other thing we haven't mentioned is Grey Worm and Melisandre, and I just thought it was boring.
Yeah, I mean...
Honestly, I think all it shows is that he's going to die.
I don't know, to me that's one of those things where it's... I like them together, but I felt like they were together enough already. So, good on them.
Yeah, I didn't really need to see that though.
It wasn't like something I didn't or did want to see. It's just something I didn't care about. Like I felt meh about it. So
yeah, I was the same. But I just got that sinking feeling of, oh shit, it isn't going to work with the Unsullied either.
Could be. I guess we'll have to wait and see until the next episode.
Yeah.
Or the one after that.
Or the one after that, no, in Game of Thrones.
Exactly. But I think that does conclude our episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Of this podcast. I have no way of telling how long we've gone on for this time.
Nope.
Maybe close to an hour again. Anyway, if anyone is listening to this, thanks for doing so. I hope that we'll be able to upload our next podcast a lot sooner, but we'll see. Yeah, I think there's nothing to say but thanks for listening. Leave a comment if you want to, and
tell us if there's any significance to Randall Tarly.
Exactly, we need to know that stuff.
Yeah,
and we'll see you next week
in a few days, hopefully.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah.